right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. Welcome to everyone around the country who's tuned into our live stream. It's a lovely winter's morning, don't you think? I'm very excited about spring being nearly upon us because I cannot stand winter. There's nothing good about winter. Okay, so like I said, welcome again to DuePoint. You're actually at our head office. My name's Rob van der Bell. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint, and I'm going to be spending about the next 50 to 60 minutes with you going through who DuePoint is and what this business proposition is all about. So we're actually a division of another company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia was founded nearly 7 decades ago, in 1952, so they've been around for a very long time, a lot longer than I've been on the planet. That's their building in the background. They're actually based down the road from us in Randburg. Their little orange logo, you might recognize them, you might not, because they typically don't deal with consumers or the public. They've only dealt with other financial service providers. They've underwritten a lot of other financial service providers in terms of long-term insurance products. The FSP number that we operate under is that one that you see over there. You'll notice in the foyer, we've got a wall full of certificates. Go take a look at those. Those are FSP licenses, which we have to display. We've got a long-term and short-term insurance license. We've got an investment license. We've got our FSP license on display. We've also shown our accreditation with the Direct Marketing and the Direct Selling Association. So as you can see, we take credibility very seriously. We understand that for you, credibility is important, and so everything that we do in this business hopefully lends to that credibility. You're welcome to go do a background check on us if you like. We're actually part of a group called Conduit Capital, which is listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. The people involved here at DuePoint are these people you see up on the screen, at least the executives and the management team. The three on the far left are all registered chartered accountants in South Africa. The first one on the far left is Brendan Benfield. He's our senior executive. He heads up DuePoint. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because he grew up only knowing insurance. His father has been involved in insurance for 50 years. He is a professor of insurance. He taught at Wits for 25 years. His father founded Clientele Life amongst a host of other financial businesses around the world. So Brendan and his brother Stuart followed in their father's footsteps. They went on to found a short-term insurer called Prime Meridian Direct, or PMD, based down the road from us, which is a very successful short-term insurer. I think they're already the 4th biggest short-term insurer in the country. So we're very lucky to have him heading this division. We've got Tim Reynolds, very experienced in corporate banking. He heads up our financial, the auditing, and the regulatory aspects of our business. He was at the First Rand Group for about 15 years before he joined us here at DuePoint. Stacey supports him in all those functions, and she's got a lot of experience in auditing. She's worked with Deloitte all her working career, locally as well as overseas, before she came back to South Africa and joined the team. And then the two not-so-boring non-accountants, Jane and myself. Jane's actually from the UK. She was born there. She's been in South Africa for about 10 years now. And she brings a lot of international experience to our business because she's got a lot of that overseas experience in direct selling. And even though we're an insurance company, our growth, our success is predicated on growth through referral or network marketing. And Jane brings all that experience to our business. And then myself, I've been working in marketing and advertising most of my career. I started my own company at a fairly young age in the mid-90s. Ran that for about 20 years, fairly successfully. We paid our bills, paid salaries, didn't retrench anybody, so I think I can deem that business successful. Although I exited that business. I walked away from it, not selling any equity in the business. I just walked away. So maybe that wasn't so successful for me in the long run, but I might touch on that a little later in the presentation. So this is the team. Our mandate here as staff of DuePoint is to support everyone that partners with us. We want to see you successful and effective in this business endeavor because that's the only way we can be profitable and successful as a business. And so everything that we do here at DuePoint is to support you in this role, what we call wealth engineers. So no, when we look at this partnership that's being proposed to you this morning, that we're certainly going to be collaborating with you. You're not left alone in this business endeavor. We want to see you as effective as possible. Okay, so that's a little bit of background around DuePoint and the people here. This part of the presentation, we kind of get onto the driving behavior of why people would be interested in entrepreneurial opportunity, because it's a lovely Saturday morning and there are much better things to be doing than sitting in a business presentation in Bryanston listening to this guy up on the stage for 60 minutes. Agreed? But we find ourselves here anyway. So this is why I'm interested. Why are you here? The driving kind of factors around this are unfortunately generally negative, right? Because we typically discuss three things. We discuss the economy, we discuss debt, and we discuss retirement. Do any of those things bring a smile to your face, right? But if employment was the answer to a lot of these issues that we have from a financial perspective, we wouldn't find ourselves here, right? Because your salary would be doing everything that you needed it to do. So we first kind of look at or discuss the economy, and the current state of the economy plays out in our lives in a number of ways. Number one, we look at interest rates, which are deemed to be fairly high. Inflation is fairly high. The economy is in a recession, which means as a whole, if you looked at South Africa as one big company, it's shrinking, right? And so we see more unemployment being created. We went in the last 6 months from 9 million unemployed to 9.3 million unemployed. In an economy where we are so desperate to be creating jobs. We've got about 800,000 kids coming out of school every year into an environment where there are no jobs for them either. And so we see it play out in our lives directly, because when companies that we all work for are in survival mode, odds are you're not getting an increase that's in line with inflation at the end of every every year, right? So I can ask you the question, did everyone get a 7-8% increase for the last 7 years running? And generally no one puts their hand up, right? But inflation hasn't stopped. Inflation's still 7%. Food inflation is sitting at 11%, which means food is doubling in price every 8 years. And so we find this gap starts to appear. The gap is the gap between your salary and what the cost of living is. And we get a lot of statistics from the FSB that proves that point. So we see South Africans, of which have debt, which is pretty much the entire working population has some form of debt. We see this gap start to create, and what has happened is that 50% of the South Africans that have debt are now under debt review. 50% of the population is under debt review. It means they haven't kept up with maintaining their debt payments for longer than 3 months. They've basically they're running out of money every single month. And what we try to do in the state of the economy that we face is that we try to bandage over this gap between our salary and our cost of living with a 4-letter word that you see up on the screen. It's appropriately a 4-letter word. Can you see the 4-letter word? Look at it. It loves you very much. Don't despise it. We have an affair with this 4-letter word, right? And so South Africans engage in debt. And often the economists will criticize us for the amount of debt that South Africans take on in their lives. And the statistics, again, that we get from the FSB show that South Africans will engage in debt throughout their lives, and only when we get to about 50 years of age do we start looking at savings and investment products. Okay? So we will engage in things like credit cards, home loans, car loans. These are all seem to be fairly natural forms of debt to take on. What's wrong with that? And then we can hire purchase anything. You can hire purchase food, hire purchase furniture, clothing. We have educational loans. We have personal loans. And so we try to bandage this gap constantly between the cost of living and what our salaries provide. Right? But this is certainly not the answer, because the problem exacerbates itself, and unfortunately you've got this D-Day looming upon you called retirement, right? AKA retrenchment. Retirement and retrenchment are the same thing. The only difference is that your boss gives you a party at the end of the one. Same thing. You don't get a salary at the end of the next month once you've been retired or retrenched, right? And this is kind of something that's very realistic in our lives that I don't think we come to terms with. So I'm going to help you come to terms with it a little bit now, because this is something that Tim sent me to depress me for the whole week. And it kind of illustrates what responsible retirement planning looks like for the current South African. So the article is written around the premise of an increasing mortality rate. An increasing mortality rate is people living longer every year, right? So currently people are dying in South Africa at the average age of 74. But people in the room, it doesn't look like anyone's dying in the room, so we're probably going to die at around the age of 80. They reckon kids being born today will live past 100. We already have 4,000 people living in South Africa over the age of 100, right? And so if you have this increasing mortality rate, your retirement planning has to keep up with that, right? Because in the old days, your financial advisor would say to you, you only have to have enough money saved to last you from 55 to 75, because you're probably going to die around 75. You don't have to save money beyond that. But today, if we're going to live to 90, now your financial advisor will say, if you're going to retire at 60, you have to have saved enough to last you 30 years. All right? So this is what the article's written about. So we've got 3 columns that they published, quoting these figures, and each column is headed with a number. The number is an income that you would derive if you saved a certain amount of money. So if you were in the position where you saved R1 million, the R1 million would pay you out 5,000 Rand a month once you retired for the next 30 years. The 5,000 Rand would actually eat into the capital amount, so you'd run out of the R1 million by the age of 90. So you can't live to 91. You've got to time it nicely, right? Otherwise you starve to death, and that's not fun. But who can survive on 5,000 Rand a month? Anyone survive on 5,000 Rand a month? And this leads on to my next wonderful question. Who is currently actively saving towards R1 million? Not even one? There's usually one person in the audience. I think they're too shy to put up their hands because we'll come ask them for a loan. Do you see where the problem lies? 2% of the population will get to retirement financially independent. 2%. We've got 150 people in the room. There's going to be maybe 3 people in this room that will get to retirement without too many issues. There's been an ad that's been running on the radio for the last week, quoting some statistics around retirement. They reckon 90% of the population gets to retirement where they have to face living with half their income. So 90% of us will suddenly have a slash in half our income by the time we retire. So you can look at the 5,000 Rand and go, oh, that's so undignified. Who can live on 5,000 Rand a month? But if you're not in a position where you're currently saving towards R1 million, you're going to have less than 5,000 Rand a month to survive on. So if there's anyone under the age of 25 in the audience, you've got time on your side, right? You don't realize the blessing you have. Ask us older people. There's nothing we can do about it. That boat has sailed. But if you're around the age of 20 to 25, you've got time on your side and you can engage in responsible retirement planning, right? So in this case, if you want to save towards R1 million, you have to save 800 Rand a month for the next 40 years. And this is where a good salary comes in that you can depend on. So if you can depend on a salary and you never get retrenched, well, that's something you can do, right? But no one looks at the 5,000 Rand because it's too little. So we look at the 26,000 Rand. You need to have, say, 5 million Rand. To get to 5 million Rand, you can save 4,000 Rand a month for the next 40 years. If you do that, and remember, the 4,000 Rand contribution has to increase in line with inflation every year. So this contribution has to increase by 7% annually. And that's what retirement planning looks like. We don't propose this as the solution at this stage, because no one is in the position to do this. Why is no one in the position to do this? Because we're trying to survive the end of the month. If you had all this money left over at the end of the month, then you would be like, right, let's invest the money. But you don't, right? We've got this gap that's widening between our salary and what the cost of living is. And it gets worse because if our interest rates go up, debt becomes more expensive. If food inflation is sitting at 11%, the cost of living just keeps getting greater and greater. And when your employer is not giving you a 7% increase every year, your salary is devaluing every year. So this is all the negativity we talk about. This is the driving behavior that gets people to come listen to a business presentation on a Saturday morning because we are in hope that we will hear something that will potentially change our circumstances. Okay. So we saw that. As a business, we saw that as an opportunity, and we created this system called the DuePoint system that basically allows the average South African to engage with. We've got 3 aspirations for the people in this room, for everybody, for anyone that engages in the DuePoint system. Number 1 is we want to see our wealth engineers become debt-free as quickly as possible. And I don't think anyone in the audience has even thought about becoming debt-free, right? Because we're in this debt cycle. Like I said, we worry about the end of the month. Our focus lies solely at the end of the month constantly. And that debt cycle sometimes extends to an annual debt cycle because even in my business, it was the same. You would kind of get to the position where you had a little bit of money extra by the end of the year because you knew you wanted to go on holiday. The kids were on leave. There's Christmas. You had to buy new stationery and maybe school uniforms for your kids. And we find South Africans suffer in January Even in our insurance businesses, we see the amount of debit orders that are returned in January suddenly spike. People don't have money. So our aspiration for the people that come into this business is to help you get rid of your debt as quickly as possible, right? So imagine this, because currently what's happening, at the beginning of the month or the end of the month, you get a nice SMS. Your salary has been paid into your account. And then what are the SMSs that follow that SMS? You all know what I'm talking about. Huh? That's for all of us. That's for all of us. One nice SMSs, 20 depressing SMSs, and then the hope, please let there be money left over after all the debit orders. So if you're in a position where you are debt-free and you don't have any debit orders going off your account any month, right? You've paid your car off, you own your car, you own your house, you pay for your kids' education a year up front. Must be nice being one of those parents. January, I'm paying for the whole year up front. And then you get the one SMS of your salary, you get another SMS from DuePoint because they've paid you, and no SMSs for debit orders. What are you going to do with all that money? We're hoping that you will start to invest that money, right, into investments, into assets. And that's our second aspiration here at DuePoint. Our second goal for our wealth engineers is to start engaging in real investments. And then the third aspiration happens on its own, I think. The third goal is to see everybody happier, not depressed at the end of every month, not in desperation through the month of January. Okay? So how does that work? Our guests here this morning, you have the opportunity to join DuePoint. When you join us, you actually contract with us. And when you contract with DuePoint, we call you wealth engineers. And as wealth engineers, we only expect one thing from you, and that is for you to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. And I'll show you what a channel of distribution looks like. And through these channels of distribution, which is really you just introducing people to us, through our online platform, we'll attempt to place product with these people you introduce to us. And that's basically how this entire business works. It is as simple as that. The benefit for you is an additional income stream. Now, this is obvious, right? This is the only way you're going to pay your debt off any faster. It is the only way you're going to bridge the gap between salary and the cost of living. An additional income stream. The nature of the income that you produce here is one of recurring nature. Now, this is something that is actually inherent to insurance companies, right? And some other companies, but not many. So when you get to create a recurring income stream, this is something that hopefully in time you can depend on. You have to have a long-term vision to build up enough of a big asset so that you have recurring income coming in every month. I want to see wealth engineers in the point, or at the point, perhaps 3 years or 5 years' time, when you've got a sustainable channel of distribution that you can go on 6 months holiday and we'll pay you for every month while you're sitting on the beach. That blows your mind, because in employment, if you had to ask your boss for 6 months leave, he'll say to you, you want to resign. That's what you want to do, right? It doesn't exist in employment. If we're lucky, if you get it to executive level, maybe you get 25, 24 days leave. But it starts out at 15 days leave, and you have to cope with 3 weeks holiday a year. We want to see you get beyond that. So you get to create recurring income. This is actually the reason why I left my business. I left it. I didn't sell my equity for any value. I walked away. After about the 10-year mark, I realized the problem in not creating recurring income. We were a service-based business, like many businesses. Hairdressers, designers, programmers, lawyers, doctors are service-based businesses. They can only charge for the time they're doing work, right? This places you in a problematic situation. Because if you go on leave, you're not producing work. If you retire, you're not producing work. And in my business, I realized that I'd have to be working like this for the rest of my life, beyond retirement, if I wanted to keep earning an income. So I walked away from the business. Recurring income is what you want out of a business. The system allows you to leverage the power of duplication. So the power of duplication is your ability to go build these channels of distribution. We've built the system so that when you build these channels of distribution, what you're actually doing is you're building a team around you. So the people that you bring into this business, think of them as your board of executives, right? You are going to be reliant on your board of executives. You want to bring in very effective, accountable individuals into this business. Because if your business is purely dependent on your sole efforts, then you're just like a lawyer or a doctor or a hairdresser, right? But if you bring in 10 very effective people and they start contributing to building this asset with you, now suddenly you've got 10 times the amount of effort being put into your asset. That'll increase your asset value, that'll increase your recurring income. This is leverage, this is a power duplication. This is a flexi-time opportunity. Now, I don't like this word flexi-time because I think people start to think, I can do it in my free time, I can do it when I feel like it. This is a great business to get involved in. It's very easy to become a wealth engineer. But if you want to be successful in building these channels of distribution, you have to have a very strong paradigm shift around business. In employment, we are forced to come to work at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever your contract stipulates. If you come late, you get a written warning, right? It's like being at school. Come late again, you get another written warning. Come late again, third written warning. Disciplinary process, fired. In this business, this is a volunteer business. If you don't come to work, if you don't decide to sacrifice time into this business, no one's going to phone you, no one's going to send you a letter, no one actually cares. The accountability lies solely with you. This business, entrepreneurship, requires this accountability. It requires responsibility. You have to look at it this way. And so when I say this is a flexi-time business, what I want you to think of it as is a decision in terms of sacrificing time, unfortunately. You're here this morning because you want to change in your life. I'm saying to you, it requires sacrifice. Some of you might realize that already. This might be a revelation to others. Okay. So by the end of this presentation, if you're interested in DuePoint, at the same time, make a decision on how DuePoint fits into your life going forward for the rest of your life. Because I promise you, if this business can get you to becoming debt-free, you're going to be here forever. We will become best buddies, right, in time. There's no startup capital. There's no registration fees in this business. It is completely risk-free, this business. The only thing you're going to be sacrificing is time. There's no boxes of products that you need to buy. We don't sign you into 12-month or 24-month contracts. You can come and go as you want in this business. The accountability always lies with you. There's no qualifications or experience required. We work in financial services. We are regulated by the FSB, an extremely onerous industry to work in from a regulation point of view. You don't have to worry about any of that. We actually contract you out of all of that obligation. So you can enjoy the benefits of being in a business like this, like recurring income, right, without the worry of having to have qualifications and experience. You get to build an asset. Now, this is a very important point on the slide. It ties into recurring income. Because in this business, you're going to be building an asset that you have ownership over. This flies in the face of employment. Because what do we do in employment? We will sacrifice a lifetime of time, 40 hours a week, for 40 to 45 years, building someone else's asset. We don't get to partake in the upside of that asset, right? You should be lucky that you haven't been retrenched. And so we will spend a lifetime building someone else's asset where we don't get profit share, we don't get dividend checks, we don't have anything to sell when it comes to retirement. In this business, it's completely the opposite. This is the upside of entrepreneurship, is that you're building an asset that you have ownership over. You can sell this one day because your channel of distribution will have value. You can give it to your children. You can seed it to your beneficiaries if something happens to you. You can be clever and move it into a family trust. So it's treated as a legal asset, okay? So you should be happy to sacrifice time into something you own as opposed to something you don't own. There's no selling involved in this business. Now, this might be complicated or confusing for some of us because it was probably your first question to the person that invited you here, right? They said, I've got a wonderful business opportunity. It does this, 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 this. And you said, what are we selling there? What are the products, right? Again, we contract you out of selling. You are not allowed to sell in this business. You don't speak about our products. You speak about the business opportunity to other people. And like I said, we don't have boxes of products. Our products are intangible. They're financial in nature. We've got systems that take care of all of the distribution. We don't run out of products. If you brought your uncle's bucky, it's been a waste of time. You're not going home with boxes of products that you need to sell this weekend. So we make this business as convenient and as easy as possible to get involved with. But this is all predicated on your success in building these things called channels of distribution. So what are these? They begin with you. You become a wealth engineer and you're going to go out and tell people about the business opportunity. When you're successful in that and you get people to join this business and take out a product, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution. That's your board of executives, those dark dots that you see there, right? Those people are going to go out and do exactly the same thing you do. They also want to bridge the gap between salary and the cost of living. They want to change their circumstances. They want to get to debt-free. And so they'll go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity too. And suddenly this is where the leverage comes in. The power of duplication starts to happen because you have this organic growth that takes place in your business. So over time, this is what your channel could look like. Every single dot represents a person with a product that you're getting paid a recurring income for. You want this to be a sustainable channel so that you can take 3-6 months leave and not have to worry about producing income every month. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. You'll be forgiven if you arrived here this morning thinking, this person's invited me to one of those schemes. Anyone think that? Invited to one of those schemes? Many people thought that, I'm sure. So this is the first and only time you'll be forgiven for that, because I think, well, I hope that I've set this business apart from these other schemes, right? This is an entrepreneurial, an authentic entrepreneurial opportunity, and it has to be treated as such. What do I mean? Well, I've touched on sacrificing time, being accountable for your own responsibility in sacrificing time for this business. So we put this picture up of the pretty ballerina's legs because it's a great analogy to business. So anyone try to start their own business? Easy to start it, right? Go to the registrar's office, register yourself as the CEO, and tell all your friends you're a CEO and give them a business card that says CEO. That's how easy it is. But to be successful in business is a completely different story. 95% of businesses fail in the first year. Those are horrible statistics. Who would ever want to start a business? I remember my business partner quoting those facts to me when we started our own business. He says, you know, our odds of succeeding are like 10 to 1 in the first year, and then of those that succeeded, another 10 to 1 in the next 3 years. I was like, oh my goodness. Well, we succeeded nonetheless, right? So this is the same as business, because we see business like this. Our friend with the CEO business card, they got the pretty spouse, even the dog's pretty, they got a nice house, a nice car, and we think, business is so easy. They're so lucky. But business, this is what business looks like. There is frustration. There are many, many downsides to entrepreneurship. Elon Musk said it. He said there are so many downsides to entrepreneurship, but the upside is freaking awesome. Those were his words. So if you're willing to put up with the downside of having to sacrifice time, get through frustration, learning curve, be willing to take on personal development, have a long-term vision instead of short-term expectation, then you're built for entrepreneurship. Then you can look towards success in the long term. So this is my disclaimer slide. It is a warning slide for those of you with short-term expectation. So let's talk about how we pay our wealth engineers. There are 2 ways to earn as a wealth engineer at DuePoint. The one way is through our returns program, and the second way is through a rewards program. So we're going to quickly discuss the returns program. This is what we pay our wealth engineers at the end of every month based on how many products you've got in your channel of distribution. So we pay a base return fee of R27.50 for every product in your channel. This is dependent on where the product lies. So remember the first 5 people you introduced to DuePoint, they lie 1 point away from you. And on your first point, you actually earn double the R27.50. We pay you R55 for every product on your first point every month. Remember, it's recurring income. It's not once-off income, it's recurring income. On the second point, the same thing. These are friends of friends, colleagues of colleagues. These are people you probably don't know. On your point 2, again, we pay you R55 for every product every month. Then the multiplier starts to drop as the products get further away from you, right? So at point 3, it's back to 100%, and then starts to drop all the way down to point 8 to 4% of the R27.50. But we don't limit you at point 8. So from point 8, in theory, into infinity, we will keep paying you that 4%. So in a few years' time, you could have built a channel that's 25 points wide, and you'll still get paid all the way to the 25th point. We do not limit you on how large your channel can get at DuePoint. And we don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. Again, the accountability lies with you. So this is the mechanics of the returns. The next natural question, obviously, is, well, give me an idea of how much money I can earn in this business after a certain amount of time. So the clever accountants went away and they plotted an earnings graph over a period of 5 years. They called it the path to success. They got a little bit creative. And it says after 6 months, if you follow a certain growth formula that we call 3 + 2, which assumes that a brand new wealth engineer can bring 3 people into the business in the first month, and then 2 extra people every additional month after that. So in August, you're going to bring 3 people. In September, 2 people. October, another 2 people. November, another 2 people. December, another 2 people. We call it the 3 + 2 growth formula because it's going to be 3 + 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 into perpetuity. It sounds like a fairly simple growth formula, right? Because you're only introducing 1 person every 2 weeks. If you can follow that growth formula, after 6 months, you could be earning 2,500 rand. No one seems impressed. Are we turning our noses up at 2,500 rand? Can I tell you why we turn our noses up at 2,500 rand? Because we think like consumers. We think like salary earning consumers. What can 2,500 rand buy you today? After 6 months of work, we have to have this paradigm shift. We need to stop thinking like consumers and give the value of money future value in terms of building assets, because that's how entrepreneurs think. So if I say to you 2,500 rand, you think, oh, I can maybe buy a handbag, go out for a nice lunch, pair of new Nikes cost 2,500 rand, maybe some imported Avos from Egypt, right? But if you think of it in terms of the debt that everybody has in the audience, it is a completely different story. Because here we have an example of someone with R1 million debt, right? They didn't have R1 million cash. They had to go to the bank and ask for R1 million because they found a nice house that they wanted to buy. They agreed to pay the bank back over a period of 20 years at the current interest rate, probably 11,500 rand a month for the next 20 years. I'm 40, I buy the house today, I'm going to become a homeowner at the age of 60. But I joined DuePoint, and after some success, 6 months later, I'm earning a measly 2,500 rand a month. And Rob says, don't spend it on Nikes. He says, start paying your debt off faster. So I decide to put the 2,500 rand as an additional payment into my bond. What is the net effect of this little 2,500 rand on my life? It will reduce my bond payments or my bond term from 20 years to 11 and a half years. I will become a homeowner now at the age of 51 instead of 60. I will now have an extra 14,000 rand for nearly 9 years that I can contribute into an asset or investment that I would never have had before. The 2,500 rand saves me R1 million in repayments. That blows my mind. Your house costs R1 million. The value of your asset, or that you don't own yet, is R1 million. But 2,500 rand can save me R1 million over that period. No one put their hand up when I said, who's actively saving towards R1 million for retirement? That's 6 months away. We need to stop looking at money in terms of what we can spend it on and how we can start investing it. After 12 months, you've created for yourself in excess of 100,000 rand in annual recurring income. Anyone expecting 100,000 rand bonus at the end of the year? Everyone's laughing. Well, you mustn't scratch your hair, ma'am. You might show everyone that you're going to be earning that bonus, and then they're going to come ask you for money. It's 12 months away. After 24 months, you're close to 30,000 rand a month. Think about how many items 30,000 rand can tick off on your cost of living list. Right? This is a life changer. 30,000 rand. Doesn't matter whether you're earning 5,000 rand a month or 200,000 rand a month. Extra 30 grand. After 36 months, you're on close to 50,000 rand. At the 30-month mark, here's an example of a 5 million rand bond. You put 36,000 rand as an additional payment into your 5 million rand bond, you'll become a homeowner on a 5 million rand house in less than 7 years. At the age of 47, I'll have paid off my first house. I'll buy a second house and start renting that out at about 25,000 Rand a month. At the age of 54, I'll have paid off the second house. I'll start renting out 2 houses for 60, 70,000 Rand a month, and by the age of 61, I would have paid off all 3 houses. I'll own 15 million Rand in property assets. Or you can just go buy a 911 on hire purchase, a nice Porsche, and live the high life until you get to retirement, sell your 5 million Rand house, move into a caravan or with your kids, and try survive for the next 30 years. That's the way we think. After 48 months, you're close to 70,000 Rand a month, and after 60 months, a short 5 years, you've created about 1 million Rand in recurring income for yourself over and above your salary. I don't think people connect with 1 million Rand a year, right? I nearly lost you at 2,500 Rand. Then I got you back at 30,000 Rand, and now I've lost you again at 1 million. It starts at the beginning. We've got wealth engineers that join and they give up in the first 3 months because they've got short-term expectation around this business. So this is all academic because this is an example that the accountants came up with based on this example of 3 plus 2. You can do a lot less than 3 plus 2. You can be 0 plus 0, or you can do more than 3 plus 2. And we happily showcase the wealth engineers that are doing more than 3 plus 2 to show you that it can be done. Right? So we've got Jack from Mpumalanga Witbank, joined at the end of January. Within a month, created 1,000 Rand in recurring income. Now again, let me show you the value of 1,000 Rand, because it might be easy to look at the 1,000 Rand and go, that's not that much. How much money did you have to have in the bank invested to derive a 5,000 Rand monthly income from? You needed 1 million Rand sitting in the bank, cash somewhere sitting. He created 1,000 Rand a month in the space of 30 days. He created a 200,000 Rand cash investment in the space of 30 days. He tripled it over the next few months. And in another 2 months, he doubled it again. Engelbert from KZN, he joined last year, a couple of days after we launched this division. He's on 12,000 Rand a month. He's tracked 3 plus 2 fairly well. He exceeded it last year, and then he dropped. He had a tough 2016. Did he quit? Did he say the business doesn't work for him? The system doesn't work? No, go listen to his testimony. He said he had a rough 2016. He's going to learn from his mistakes. He's still got lots of time to get where he wants to get. And Kanyezi, she's with us this morning. Where are you hiding? She's outside. She's given her seat up to somebody. Joined at the end of March. April, May, June, July. 4 months. What's the equivalent cash investment that this equates to? Probably 3.5 million Rand cash investment. Go listen to her testimony. She's like the poster child for DuePoint. She tries to speak to 25 people a day. Who are the people thinking already, I don't know that many people, I don't think this business is for me. I think Ayezi ran out of people she knew on day 2. Right? The accountability always lies with you. You will be the one that makes the decision as to how much money you want to derive out of this business, what time and effort you're willing to put into it, and whether you're going to work towards that or not. No one else makes that decision. We've got hundreds of wealth engineers we pay every single month that have created an income stream for themselves over and above their employment. They have in some way started bridging this gap between salary and the cost of living. These are not special individuals. We've got people with matric, without matric, people with corporate experience, people without corporate experience, people with degrees, people without degrees. The system is the same for everybody. It's a decision. It's just a decision. So this is the returns program. This is how we pay our wealth engineers based on the amount of product that they have in their channels of distribution each and every month. The second way to benefit out of DuePoint is the XP Rewards program. So this rewards program will reward you with the success that you have at DuePoint. So when you start out as a wealth engineer, you will engage in normal wealth engineer behavior, which is telling people about the opportunity, bringing them to presentations, watching training, logging into your dashboard. And when you do all these things, we give you something called XP. Stands for experience points. It's not worth anything. It's just an indicator of how active you are as a wealth engineer. And when you start collecting more XP and your business starts to grow, your channel starts to get bigger, we reward you along the way. So if you start out from today as a brand new wealth engineer, you will be a rank 0 wealth engineer. But very quickly you can get to rank 1 because you only need 1,000 XP and you need 4 products in your qualified channel. And when those two things happen, you become rank 1 and we give you an extra 55 Rand at the end of the month, right? It's just a once-off 55 Rand. You can go have a muffin and a cappuccino to celebrate on your own and strategize towards rank 2. But as you start to rank up in the rewards program, the rewards get bigger and better. So you can see they go 100 Rand, 1,500 Rand, 50,000 Rand by rank 10. We give tools to our wealth engineers along the way to help them be more effective in growing their channels of distribution, right? We almost want to give you a boost. So at rank 5, we give you a lightning memory stick. It's got all our video collateral on that little stick, but the beauty of this little stick is that it plugs into any device. Any device. Tablets, phones, computers, laptops, TVs, Android, Apple, banana, all of it. What is the beauty of that? Because Patrick and Pumi know that they can show the DuePoint opportunity to anyone regardless of the device they have around them. At rank 7, we spend 12,500 Rand on a set of business cards that don't get printed. They get manufactured. What do I mean by that? There's no ink on these business cards. The edges and the logo are all gilded in gold. They're 4 times thicker than any other card on a recycled black paper that feels like suede. Why would we go to such extent for business cards? Because this is very much a first impressions based business. When you go out there and you speak to someone about DuePoint, odds are they've never heard of us before. But that'll change in a few years. But for the time being, they have never heard of DuePoint, right? So you don't have much credibility. But when you put a business card that costs 50 times more than the business card they have in their hands, suddenly your credibility goes up a couple of levels. And they'll give you a little more time to explain what DuePoint's all about. At rank 9, DuePoint takes the wealth engineer and their family on an all expenses paid trip, business class flights for 7 days to a 5-star luxury resort. This doesn't happen once. This is what you'll enjoy as a rank 9 wealth engineer forever. Every single year you'll get to take this trip with DuePoint. So take a look. We've got footage of the actual resort that we're going to. It is available for every person in the room. How does that look? That's at rank 9. One individual got from 0 to rank 9 in 5 months. Space of 5 months they did that. So that's a record. You can beat it. Records are made to be broken. Or you can take 10 years to get there. There's no time limit on getting to rank 9. What do we do currently? We wait till the end of the year when we all want to go away on holiday. We have a family meeting. Check the bank balance. Ask the spouse, are you getting a bonus in December? No. Are you? No. Okay. Maybe we go to the Vol Dam this year. I don't know. Some people like fishing. I don't know. I'm not a fishing person. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 on a brand new car and give it to the wealth engineer. So rank 11's already happened here at DuePoint. We probably have another 2 individuals qualifying for rank 9 this month. But this is only rank 11. I think people are shocked when I say this is just the beginning. We've designed the rewards program up to rank 28. If you're getting a card rank 11, what happens at rank 28? Got everyone excited. Usually I hear jet, house. Okay, you'll have to find out. So that's the rewards program. There's actually a third way to benefit out of DuePoint, and that is through our Wealth Quests. A Wealth Quest is an incentive that we run once a month. It runs for the span of the month only. August's Wealth Quest is called Build the Right Team for the Dream. It is a focus on quality of people when you go out and build your channel. So the challenge is add 2 new wealth engineers that you can assist to get qualified in the month of August. And if you don't have any cancellations on your first 3 points, you'll have a brand new iPad in your hands before the end of next month. So that's the incentive on offer this month, right? We could ask the question, well, how does DuePoint afford these wealth quests and the returns and the rewards program? This basically illustrates our business model. So traditional businesses, especially insurance companies, will spend a lot of money on client acquisition. They do that through marketing and advertising, right? So a portion of the premium that we pay to insurers, a large portion of the premium goes to next month's marketing, okay? At DuePoint, we don't do any marketing. You won't see a DuePoint logo outside of this building. We rely on our partners, our wealth engineers, to go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity. And so instead of spending the billions that the insurance industry spends every year on marketing and advertising, we take that portion of our premium and we attribute it to returns and rewards and the wealth quests for you, for our wealth engineers. And that's how our business model works here at DuePoint. All right, the products. So we have 3 products. You are free to take out 1, 2, or 3 products. It is completely up to you. It's a personal decision. The benefit of all of the products are financial in nature. So they speak to the issues that we have in financial nature. So the first product is an investment product called Access Wealth. It is 299 Rand a month, 100 Rand of which gets invested in your name into a tax-free investment fund that sits with Sanlam, right? The biggest investment house in the country. It's not a fixed or notice deposit, so you can draw the income or the investment out at any stage. At any stage. Okay, we give you a little bit of insurance with this product. We give you 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover. So this is the investment product. Product number 2 is called Wealth Guard. This is strictly an insurance product. So it's 274 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. This is not life insurance. This is personal accident cover. We don't profile you from a health risk point of view, right? Why is that so good? Because anyone can take this product out over the age of 18, and we don't discriminate you from a health risk point of view. So you can be 80 years old, you can have cancer, you can still take out the product, the premium remains the same, and the amount of cover that you get remains the same. Okay, so this is the insurance product. The third product is called the WealthPoint Buyers Club program. This product aims to save us money on the money we spend every month anyway. So for 274 Rand a month, you get to engage with a list of partners there, and we've negotiated discounts with these partners that you get to enjoy. That's the benefit out of this program. So you can see we've got always on Wi-Fi data. That's a new partner we've just signed on. You can get a gig for less than 37 Rand of data. They've got 2,500 hotspots around the country. The entertainer offers you over 1.3 million Rands worth of buy one, get one free vouchers for restaurants around the country, hotels around the world, beauty spas for the ladies. Some of the men go to beauty spas nowadays. We've got Eagle Ford, We've got a whole list of retailers there that offer 2.5% and more off your entire spend at those retailers. So ShopRite Checkers is probably one of the most popular ones here because you get 2.5% off your entire trolley at ShopRite Checkers, and that's probably our biggest spend every month is on groceries, right? So immediate benefit is in this product. It's a great product. If you have any questions around the products, come speak to me. I remind you of the support that you get here. I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that everything that we do in this business is to support our wealth engineers. So lean into that support. Don't become a wealth engineer and then disappear whenever you hear from you and you're trying to do it on your own. We are here to support our wealth engineers. We've put this live stream up in place so that you can build your businesses anywhere in the country, because we live stream into every single person's office, lounge, kitchen, wherever, every time we run an event here. The facilities have been built for our wealth engineers. You're free to have your own presentations, your meetings in our boardrooms. You can drink all the free tea and coffee. You can use all the free Wi-Fi. Make these your offices. Make yourselves at home. Yeah, we want you to get engaged in this business as much as possible. So find out what all the support is that exists here and get plugged into it. The decision slide. We are at the end. What is the decision we need to make? The decision really is whether you want to make the shift from being dependent on salary and engaging in this entrepreneurial opportunity that, yes, has all these downsides to it, but in the hope that you can achieve the upside. And what is the upside that we speak about? Being able to create an asset that creates a recurring income for you that pays you regardless of whether you're sick, whether you have a bad relationship with your boss, whether you get retrenched, whether you go into retirement. It's something that you can still depend on. We need to move from the employment box into the asset building box, right? We need to stop thinking about money in terms of how we can spend it and rather how we can invest it, what the future value of money has. And I want to remove all the hype. These presentations, I know. I've been to many business presentations. I cannot stand hype. When we give these presentations, we will obviously put our best foot forward. I will show you only the best things about this business. I think we've been very truthful in terms of that we don't promise success quickly in this business, that's false expectation to have, that you shouldn't have short-term expectation in this business. But at the same time, people can get overexcited. Excitement and happiness is not the same thing. Excitement does not lead to happiness. Excitement is short-term. So I want everyone to throw the excitement away. You got excited about rank 9? Forget about rank 9. You got excited about getting an iPad? Forget about the iPad. We are here to think about building an asset. There are 3 ways to benefit out of the system: the returns program, the rewards program, and the wealth quest. The returns program is the most important aspect here. It is your ability to create recurring income for yourself. This is what's going to set you free. The iPad is not going to set you free. Going on a rank 9 holiday every year is not going to set you free. It might be great for selfies and Facebook. You might get a few more friends on Facebook, but that's it. You need to focus on the grind that is required to build this recurring income for yourself. So throw the hype away, stop being excited, and make a mature decision as to what you want your future to look like. That's what's on offer here. If you have any questions around this business opportunity, come speak to me. We've got some of the staff here this morning. Come speak to us about the business opportunity. Okay? Joining is very easy. It takes you about 7 minutes to go through our online application form. If you've got your own smartphone or tablet on you, we've got tablets available here in the breakout rooms. There's free Wi-Fi. Jump onto that. Go through the application form. It's on our homepage. It takes you about 7 minutes. You're a wealth engineer. You can start going for rank 1 by Monday. You can get to rank 1. You can get to rank 9. The behavior doesn't change between rank 1 and rank 9. The behavior and the activity is actually exactly the same. So if you can get to rank 1, you know you can get to rank 28. But you can't get there if you give up after 3 months. We've got merchandise. This is not a profit center for us. Please consider getting business cards. Like I said, this is very much a first impressions based business. I will always say to the wealth engineers, you need to look professional, speak professionally, behave professionally in this business. When you're proposing a business opportunity to somebody else, consider getting business cards before you get the black and gold ones. Get the white ones, right? Don't discriminate. Get the white business cards. Just makes you seem professional in this engagement. The USB sticks are very convenient because they've got our videos on there and you don't have to use data. And nowadays you can plug them into TVs. Consider the other merchandise. It's on display in the cabinet. The pricing is on the counter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because all our videos are on there. Our testimonies, our interviews, every presentation of every format, the training, everything is on this YouTube channel. Go look at the videos, go take a look through there. If you subscribe, it'll tell you every time we load a new video, every time we're about to do a live stream. And once you become a wealth engineer, download our mobile app. It's on the Google Play Store and it's on the App Store. Download it. That app will reflect exactly what's happening in your channel in real-time basis. You will see your asset value increasing while you're sleeping. That's the beauty of this app. Guys, we are done. I thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. If you make rank 1 by Monday, come shake my hand. I'll take a selfie with you. Thanks.